Welcome to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. My name is Chip Washington, your self-appointed Bison Hoops fanatic.
What's up, Bison Nation? It's your boy Brian B. Smooth Foston here for another episode with your boys, man. You know how we do. We represent the Mecca, Howard University, the real HU, and we talk about players and playmakers, baby. Let's get it in.
That's what's up. This E-Wash, man. Still got a serious basketball, Jones. Absence makes a heart grow fonder, and I'm a simp for basketball.
Woo! That brother bringing some old flavor there. Simp, man. That sounds like he's gonna break out into an R&B song in a minute. Just open your arms all wide. Open your arms wide. Oh man,
you never know how this show is gonna start.
I know. You never do. Fellas, you got me wondering if I get another playlist going, because now you got me. I got to put together another hope tape, see how we can and hope to get through this episode. So tonight, man,
I'm trying to beat you to the edit button. That's all.
Oh, getting a lot of practice in. So welcome back, family. Welcome back, Bison Nation. We are excited to bring you yet another episode of Bison Brothers Basketball. Tonight, we are catching you up on some of the last remaining non-conference games. So we're looking forward to getting into some recaps. And of course, don't miss out on our over and under reactions. We always have some fun ones there. So we're starting to see how we are either getting smarter or not so smart about what's happening in the season. But before we do, Chip, want to get us kind of right about why we do this?
Indeed. Always want to remind everyone, donate to the Mecca Society. That is Howard's name, image, and likeness collective. That's how we can support this championship culture, support the Dream Factory. So you can get them at themeccasociety.org. You can also donate at hubison.com and donate directly to the athletic department. So we want to always encourage you to donate to the programs and go to the games, butts in seats. And as always, please tell everyone about the podcast. Share the podcast, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, and you can hear us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. So support the program, support the podcast, support Howard University. Let's go.
I'm so amped, bro. I'm so amped. So the way we're getting it in tonight, man, we're gonna, jump into some recaps. We'll start with our women because they've been doing some things to really kind of hone in and tune up for the conference season. And then we'll turn our attention to the guys. There were some cool things that happened. I know this weekend was pretty awesome, where we got to see a really close game that we figured out how to play all the way through, all 40 minutes. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then, we'll do some over under reactions. And of course, we're going to hear from our favorite segment from E-Wash, is what's good for basketball, before we close out today. But before we get into that recap, we got to kind of ease into the spirit. I know the band has been home for a few weeks. The cheerleaders went home a little while ago. So before we get into the next segment, why don't we give a little something for the band, right? Hey. I don't know about you, man, but I'm ready to get it in right now. I don't know. I'm hoping to, so E, when we get together in January, we got to make sure the band plays our favorite song so we can broadcast live from the Martin Luther King weekend when Morehouse Tigers come on to DC and get a little love. But before we get to that part of the conference schedule, we just need to jump into these last few recaps. So I know we wanted to start off with our young lady. So they had a couple of really nail-biting games. We had some some fun trying to stay very focused on how we continue to learn what's happening. I know we made some assessments in our last recap around, how many folks maybe need to pitch in on the scoring side and maybe some of the formulas we need to stay competitive. So what was the first game up? I'm looking at my notes here.
That was it was Army, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Army. Oh, that was a good game.
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Army.
It was good early. It was good early.
Yeah. For me, this was all about the narrative, because I was a little nervous because Army came in at 7-1. Like they rolled off 7 games, straight. They lost their first one, and so they rolled in here with 7 straight wins. Had the Patriot Player of the Week. I was a little concerned, but they came in 7-1 and they left 7-2. So
Strong J.
But I thought it was a statement win. I believe they put together a balanced effort to get this dub, and I was, like I said, it was a narrative win for me, because to turn them around after coming in at 7-1, and like I said, to kind of have some balanced scoring. Didn't quite have 4 people with double digits, but we had 3. We had 3 in double digits, and I like that, Destiny Howe actually didn't have a good game. She only had 7 points, but yet, like I said, and we still took down a quality Army team. So I was impressed. I was impressed with the balance and what we were able to pull off. It was a quality win. So.
Okay. Yeah, and I love it, man. I will say that, just to add, I think we're still seeing the maturation of Zania Thomas. I mean, she's becoming a real go-to in the low post. So to having the balance of shooting outside in the low post, that's going to make us real formidable when we get into conference play. So, of course, Sanaya King continues to be the rookie of the week every week, because she's playing above her classification. So it was a statement game, but I think it was more of a statement that we're learning from every loss, and it doesn't seem like we're losing the same way anymore, which means we're figuring out how to win games. So it was great. It was really, the first half was must-see television. I think it got a little slow in the middle, but it was one of those things where when we missed shots, you could tell, but we were able to hold it together at the end, which was really something to be said about how we close out games. What did you see?
Well, unfortunately for me, I was in Florida, right? So I had to kind of rely on kind of looking at the handicapping of the game and trying to get the narrative from the stats, right? Which is sometimes can be a little misleading and oxymoronic. But I'm kind of like Chip. When I saw Army's record, I was like, ooh, not sure what to expect here, right? And even though we haven't gotten into it yet, Chip has already shot bullet holes in most of my women's game talking points, which is great, actually. Because there are a lot of concerns I had, which I will get to later. So to see them do the things that needed to be done and sort of operate in that good for basketball space was impressive.
Yeah, and I don't know if I give Zania Thomas her nickname, because she definitely has the old woman at the Y game. She moves really slow, but she gets exactly where she needs to get. But it's not even necessarily people mover, because she's kind of thin, but like I said, she just moves effectively when she's down in the paint, grabbing rebounds, putting shots back up. She just moves really slow, but really effectively. So I was like, I'm gonna have to give her the old woman at the Y game.
Oh, okay. See, I was confusing with the other nickname.
Yes. Yeah, the people mover's not here yet. The people mover's on her way.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Especially when we get to talking about the second game. but
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the big takeaway there was that despite the record, I know that the Army team was strong, so it wasn't like we were playing against a team that hadn't been playing anybody. So it was a good test for us to see how we matched up with another competitive team that's getting ready for conference play as well. What I was impressed by, I think, in the first game was that we jumped out to such a big lead early. Shooting was really on point, and Army adjusted. They actually wound up, almost doubling our scoring in the third period. So it made the fourth period even more interesting because, we went back and forth. And, we've seen where we can put together about 35, 36 good minutes of basketball, and those last four can be anything could happen. And so for us to hold it together, I found myself watching every possession in that last part of the game, which, for me, I think we're going to see some tough games in conference play, and knowing how to win is really what we're trying to learn right now. So first game, Army, I'm glad we won. Thank you for your service, Army. And
really?
I can't thank them for their service. I mean, I'm just saying it was good to me. I just saying I watched to the very end, so that's pretty awesome. So anything else, Chip, on the Army game?
No, I think that's about it. I'm continuing to be impressed by our defense. We caused 15 turnovers for them. Mm-hmm. So, I thought that was a good sign, and I'm just continuing to be impressed by their defense. Now, what I have seen, and is when people score on us, it's usually because of miscommunication on defense.
Yeah.
Like it's like consistent. It's like somebody's going, "Oh, hey, wait, who's got who?" And next thing you know, somebody's driving to the lane, and everybody's looking around like, "Hey, what happened?" But when we're communicating and when everybody's connected, we're formidable on defense. And so, like I said, I'm interested to kind of see that moving forward, to see are we going to tighten that up, because it's either contested shots, which we're okay with, or it's some blown assignments and people are just rolling right to the rim. So we definitely got to clean that up.
Well, we kind of had another sort of recurring theme about, what is their approach like before the game? Are they approaching this like, oh, we're just happy to be here, and we sort of not intimidated by the competition, but they play like, or that's sort of the question that we kind of keep asking. Are they playing like, well, this is what we expect of ourselves at this point? You know what I mean? And since I didn't see the game, I'm a little curious to know, how did they come out? Since they were scoring so well, did they come out like, yeah, this is not really a big deal?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Good point. It was definitely the case. I think we do play better at home first and foremost. So whenever somebody comes to the Burr is a competitive advantage for us, right? That's where we seem to be the most comfortable. So the rims are friendly. I think that to your point, the offense ran really smoothly early, and so we saw people making the right cuts. I didn't see us being careless with the basketball. So to the earlier point here, when we keep the turnovers low and we kind of get to people who are ready to score, we do better. And as Chip pointed out earlier, we had multiple kind of points of scoring inside, outside, even some of the mid game. So for Army, I think they were loaded up on Destiny because, she's our number one threat. And so for her to not shoot well meant, somebody else had to pick it up. And I think that actually helped us early. So, we started out, I think that was, probably one of the stronger opening quarters we've had in a while in terms of scoring. So we had like 19 points in the first quarter. So that was pretty big for us in terms of just the output. So we started off strong. I just think the Army continued to adjust. They were doggedly consistent about their approach. So whenever they kind of locked in and could get us to rush our shots or rush our offense, they were able to kind of capture some extra possessions. So extra possessions probably got us to slow down a little bit in the second period, and then they were able to flip the tables around on the third, and that's what got them back in the game. So I think that's where I know it's not to, nobody plays perfect games. I just think that when everybody adapts, right, you try to figure out how do you continue to kind of, compete. So I think we learned a lot about how to get started, but I think it was probably more impressive for me on how we finished in the game. I know that was probably the big takeaway for me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good. It's good. So I know we had that win a few days ago now, and that meant we had to go face Old Dominion, which is fresh off the press here. We're recording the same day that we had the first double header in Burr for the year. I know we're going to have a bunch of them when we start the new year, but it was fun to see us. It's weird playing. Both our men and women did play today, but they didn't play the same opponent. So that threw me for a little bit when I realized we were in the same place at the same time. But Old Dominion came to town. They're just down the road, not too far. They're in the Tidewater area, so we love everybody down there. Shout out to Hampton and a few other schools, Norfolk State, and all of them. But Old Dominion, so they came to town, and I don't think they bought the hype of us being, big time. I'm just saying that's what appeared to me, but I know you guys saw some of the game or heard about it too. I can just tell you right now that the young lady from Old Dominion, the transfer from South Alabama, I'm gonna have to find her name here, but she came in and said, "I'm gonna go to all the spots you all don't defend, and I'm gonna score."
Pretty much.
I'm just saying it's like you're gonna defend the wing. I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna hit the elbow. Oh, you're gonna defend me at the free throw line. I'm gonna step two sides and I'm gonna hit every shot. And I was like, she is really good, and we should probably stop her. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And for me, we couldn't hit the side of a barn with a beach ball in this game. I mean, we tried getting it on the inside, and we were missing bunnies on the inside. We were missing mid-range shots. We were missing 3-point shots, and you come down and miss a 3, and then they come and go and convert. That's a 5-point swing or a 6-point swing, and
just like that.
Yeah, just like that. When they moved, we didn't move. Just like that.
I needed that one. I needed that one. Shout out to Outcast. Shout out to Outcast. So I guess to cut to the chase real quick, because I want you to come in, E, because you got some deep notes on this one.
Okay.
I just want to make sure. For me, it was kind of the opposite, right? Where Destiny probably had one of her better shooting games. So I think she scored 30 points, which is only 4 or 5 off of her all-time high from a few years ago. So she was playing pretty well, shot well from the free throw line. 3-pointers, we probably, overall we didn't shoot very well from the 3. So if we shoot under 45% or so, that puts us at risk, because we like to throw the 3s up there and see what happens. But there was a point there, Chip and E, where to your point, they had like 12 turnovers in the first half, and that was probably the part that caught my ear and my eye, because it was not because Old Dominion was playing great defense or smothering defense or 94 feet. It was like we were trying to throw the ball to people who didn't seem to want to catch it. To your point, Chip, around the side of the barn, you were standing next to the barn. You kept throwing the ball, and it's like, the barn's the other way, right? So that was uncharacteristic for me. I don't know if I was looking for that to be the case, especially when you're playing against a higher level of competition. But that's what jumped out to me, is that there were some uncharacteristic things that kind of played out today. And maybe it's a combination of being a little bit tired. I know we got another game before the end of the week here, so I know they got a few games before everybody goes home for the holiday. So maybe that's it. But it just seemed out of character for some of the turnovers that we don't normally see from them. They miss shots, and we play defense, but if we turn the ball over, it just changes the flow of the game. And I don't think we ever had a chance to really get into it. Even with shooting that caught up finally, I think we only got it within about 9 or 10 at any given point, but it was never in jeopardy. So E, break it down for me, man. I know you got some thoughts here.
So the kind of the oxymoronic way I kind of keep looking at the Lady Bison is, I keep asking myself, why do they keep taking all of these threes? Why are they so dependent on Destiny? Why are we having so much trouble scoring? Now, I'm not an analytics guy, for the simple reason that sometimes I think it can lead you to look at basketball backwards. And what I mean by that is there's so much emphasis on three-point shooting, people don't even think, oh, it's actually easier to score the closer you get to the basket. And that's the way they run their offense. I kind of keep saying to myself, well, why are they doing that? And I kind of started looking at the percentages, and as I was kind of going through it, they're shooting 371 from the field. Their opponents shoot 368. I said, wow. Their three-point shooting, they shooting 249 for the year. Their opponent is shooting 325 from three. Right? And I started getting a little discouraged, and I was like, oh, but they're winning. They are winning. So, let me kind of, take a little bit of a chill pill here. I'm going to keep looking, but, I said, okay, well, because, I didn't want to come off critical of Destiny, like, oh, man, she's kind of too ball dominant and this and that. Turns out she's right there with Sanaya in assists. So I'm like, okay. It's not like she's way off there or ball hogging or something like that. But, when I heard, I think it was UB saying that they were trying to move the ball inside and those kind of things, I said, well, maybe I'm missing something else, and, kind of want to shout out Old Dominion a little bit here because they're actually kind of a legacy women's program. They were kind of dominant in the 70s before they even let women be in the NCAA. So, it would have been a nice little feather in the cap to come and take them off the board, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But what it keeps making me say to myself, I'm attributing this to Charles Oakley, but it may not necessarily be true. Charles Oakley always said, if you can rebound, you can score. Right. In other words, it made me start, well, what else could they be doing to score? What could they do different so they're not so dependent on Destiny all the time? And what comes to mind is, even if you don't have great offensive skill, run the floor. Even if you don't have great offensive skill. When Chip started talking about them missing all those bunnies, I was like, yeah, you got to be able to catch a pass like what you're saying there, B, and put it right back up. And if you can do that with both hands and run the floor, you're already a way more effective offensive player than if you just chucking up threes. I think you guys might have seen at one point during the broadcast, I took a screenshot so I could make sure I remember, like, okay, came down on the break. Destiny had the ball. Walker was wide open for a three. But then I was watching another clip on Instagram where Lou Williams was lamenting even the invasion of analytics in basketball. And he said, a lot of things that old coaches used to say is, you're open for a reason. You're wide open for a reason. You're not wide open because they can't rotate like, nah, you ain't got to worry about that.
That's right. That's right.
When I look at those numbers, I was like, and that seems like, the scouting report might be somewhat accurate in that sense. But then I kept going back, but now they are winning, or even though they might have tumbled a little bit, they play hard. I still would like to see, either some off the ball movement with Destiny, but that would require some people being a consistent offensive threat. And so that's kind of leads me to my, when we get to it, my good for basketball, it's going to be a Morgan Wootten, and I'm sure Coach Kenny is going to appreciate,
Mm,
the dot that I'm going to connect here. When
I
we get
like that. I like that. That's called a tease. I heard that's a tease right there, brother. Look at you. You got the. I learned
Yeah.
that. I learned that in pre-production earlier today, so I know what a tease is.
Yeah.
I'm learning. So any other thoughts about today's game with Old Dominion? Because I do think that you make a good point. It's a storied program. The young lady that's coaching over there is doing an amazing job. Continuing to build her program as well. So I love the fact that we're playing against what I consider to be elite mid-major
No question.
talent.
No
And
question at all.
so, everything that's happening right now feels like it's falling into Coach Ty
Mhm.
Grace's plan of how do I tune up and make sure before we go into conference play, which is a different animal, that we don't lose sight of the fact of we have to be competitive enough so that when we win our MEAC conference championship,
Yeah, I
you
see you
know,
speaking it into existence.
you got to claim it. But we know we're able to play and maybe shock the
Mhm.
world, as my buddy Chip would like to say. We're going to shock the world if we continue to show up and play the way we know how to play. So I'm excited about what we learned from today. I'm not excited about the loss. Never excited about losing, but I know that there were some. We got to see Destiny kind of bring her full kind of offensive talents back into play. She's always been really good. I do think we still saw some good promise from some of our bigs, but yeah, to your point, there's some ways to make this game easier that hopefully we take away from today's game.
That's
We got to
right.
make it easier on ourselves. Chip.
And yeah, and I don't have Zanaya's stats up, but I don't think she had her kind of normal either rebounding and or
Mhm.
scoring game. And like I said, for us missing all those bunnies in the lane, because we were getting the ball inside,
Yeah,
but
I saw that. I saw
just
that.
not converting. And so, and
Mhm.
E, to your point, I think I mentioned it last episode. They do a good job. It seems like it's kind of baked into their offense of
Mhm.
getting offensive boards and going right back up. And
Yeah.
so we have the side, and I think that might account for, even with the missed shots, still allowing us to get some production, because we can get those offensive boards and go back up. But we got none of that in this game. And you never want to just say, oh well, we'll just throw this game away, because we did play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need to learn something from it. But
Mhm.
I've seen enough of them trying to work inside and get offensive boards and
Mhm.
move the ball around to know that they can do it. We just got to kind of keep working, keep grinding to get it consistent.
And
Mm.
even as you're saying that, man, it's still taking me back to Moses Malone, for example.
Mm.
He was accused of, well, he can't shoot anyway, and he knows he's going to get offensive rebounds, so he just throw anything up because he knew he was going to get it and put it right back up. Now, I'm not
That's real.
suggesting that that's the methodology you should choose, but again, there's always a way to make yourself a threat in basketball.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it. I love it. Yeah, no, it's stat line wise, you're right. Zania and a few other teammates that we just didn't see that they had single digits in a lot of stuff. I think
yeah.
to put it to echo and kind of support your point, this was probably one of the first games in a while where the only double digit score we had was Destiny, and she had 30.
Mhm.
The next scorer had 9. And so that's not the balance we need.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Shout out to Vanessa Blake and Kaya Creek, because they show flashes of what you've been talking about, and Chip, you've always said, if they just play, kind of to their potential and give us just a little bit more on the scoring side to give some free up some space, right? We could probably see a lot more of the successful pick and rolls. We can see,
Mhm.
the body work down low, because they're not collapsing on people. If you're not scoring, they don't have to play you, right? There's a reason
Right.
you're open. I like that. There's a reason you're open. That's open. So this is wild, man. I know, just in the interest of just kind of playing it ahead here, we have 2 more games coming up before the holiday here. I thought it was 1, but it's 2, and I'm a little nervous, man, because They're back-to-back games after playing a bunch of games in a row. I think we have St. Joseph's out of Philadelphia on Friday morning, and then we play I think Northwestern or College of Charleston. It's a little holiday tournament we're playing in. So looking forward to catching those. Hopefully the streams will be there, but I'll be paying attention because I think that this is kind of how we start to wrap up. The last we have one more non-conference game against American before the new year, and then we'll get into conference play. So excited. These last 3 games could, I think Chip, your over/under is out of play now, so we probably should just focus in on the future, like good Bears fans. Shout out to the Chicago Bears.
Oh, see, yeah, you had to go there.
Oh man,
I'm sorry. Was that? Were those your feelings? Were those your feelings I stepped on? My bad.
Oh man, it's rough right now.
You have to. I have to apologize. This is a basketball podcast, but I'm in my feelings for losing the first round of my fantasy football. I didn't apply enough clown makeup for the way I played, so that's on me. I shouldn't take that on y'all. But back to the basketball. Let's shift gears. Because we had some exciting things happen on for the men. So, Chip, why don't you talk to us about Saturday? I know you were trying to balance between being a socialite, birthday parties, and weddings, and somewhere in between, something incredible happened with our men when they played.
Yes.
The fellas from Wilmington, UNC Wilmington.
Yes.
What did you feel from that, brother? What did you feel from that?
So I was at a wedding. Right. And it was a Bison wedding. And I was watching the game while we were at the wedding. Now, we were starting early and nobody was walking down the aisle yet. And me and one of my guys next to me, I had my phone. I was watching and I said, okay, I need to be in polite society here. And I need to cut this phone off. But I cut it off right as Blake fouled out.
He sure did.
So I was kind of half watching the game because I'm trying not to, yell out at the wedding and get thrown out. But man, when I came back later to watch the full game, I didn't even know that we lost the lead right after he fouled out. So the fact that we were down so many people, Taiwo fouled out, Blake fouled out. And to find out that we still got the dub against a quality UNCW
quality.
I mean, I was beyond excited about this win. Like, oh man, yeah. I feel like this is one of we're gonna look back at this win and see, because like for Taiwo to he doesn't get a lot of minutes, and to come in, you can see the battery pack inside of him just getting more and more charged. He was blocking shots, getting rebounds. I was like, this is his moment. And so, yeah, oh man, I was just, not enough words to say how proud I was of the guys to be shorthanded and pull out this W with UNCW, man.
Yeah, you all both tend to get on the so everybody listening in, just secret is we watch these games as much as we want you all to watch them, and so if there's anything on, we try not to spoil it for each other. But I knew my man Chip had to go into a wedding. I didn't know if he had to play a role in the wedding or he just needed to be polite. But I know I probably had something to do as well. But my beautiful wife, shout out to Ruth, my favorite Aggie from North Carolina A&T, and that includes her dad. He knows, he understands. But the idea is that she knew that we couldn't leave because that's how entertaining the game was. She saw Taiwo block a shot and she said, "Oh, that boy, he needs to do that all the time." And then immediately saw him try to shoot the ball and said he shouldn't do that all the time. So she said, if he plays his role, we're in good shape. We need him to fill up the middle. He don't need to touch the ball unless he's blocking and getting rebounds. But to your point, when Blake fouled out, because Blake was on another tear, he was, we've So I guess to set the context for this recap, we did win. We did win against a quality team, and we did it without some of our normal starters in the lineup. We actually were still down from just health reasons and everything. We just don't have our full team. So going in, I'm not ready to call what do you call it, a moral victory. I didn't want to say, man, let's just try hard and see what happens. We knew we were going against some dogs, and the main scorer for Wilmington came to work. I think he put up 40 points on us because he just was like, everybody was too small. Everybody was too small. So he kept walking it down and saying, you can't stick me. So for him to play the monster game he did, for us to say, where are we going to show up? Shout out to Marcus Dockery. I mean, I think that I forget he played at Maryland, some other place. So he's used to big games, but it was almost like an EO like this when Blake and Marcus were going back and forth. It was reminding me of how rich the DMV, the District of Columbia, is with basketball talent. And it was almost like, you guys can come up here from North Carolina if you want to, but this is what we do in DC. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened, Chip. Like once Blake fouled out, that's when Marcus was like, okay, well, let me show y'all how we do it. And so back and forth. I mean, literally, he scored almost half his points in the second half, and that was because every time we needed a shot, he was there. And so, we learned a lot. And like I said, everybody shot well. I think we had 4 people in double figures, which is, again, we talked about that being a formula. But we got at least 4 in double figures. We're going to be in games. The math didn't seem like it was going to math. I'm just saying it looked like man, it's going to be a valiant fight. And if we don't pull it out, we played really hard for 36 good minutes. But bruh, we won that joint. I thought we were going to the NCAA tournament. That's how excited I was. I was like, come on, give me the keys. Let's drive. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Yes.
Yeah. Which kind of makes today's game even more disappointing.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it because
I thought again, they was gonna have this one in the bag. They are starting to spoil me a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, they about to handle this,
But this is what fandom kicks in, right? Like we have to have a game. So because remember, we were worried that it was a false positive to beat up on the little guys from Virginia Lynchburg. We beat them by 74. So we had to know that there could have been a letdown, like from going against maybe some lesser competition to a really good team. And we pulled that out. So of course we're coming after 2 wins against, some home cooking. Everybody shout out to China Wonder. Everybody got a little mumbo sauce and some wings.
Are they still around?
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah. Howard China is over there, the whole 9. So there's some places that we all remember that are still in business and probably still helping Howard Hospital stay in business, but that's a different story for a different time. The idea, though, is that coming out of that, we knew that we matched up well with Drexel, and the stats said it, the Vegas line said it, and for pretty much almost the whole game, we played to almost down to what the prognosticators would say, which is, we were within 2 points of this team, and so it was exciting. So it was disappointing, but exciting because again, we're playing without everybody we normally play with. But it's something spooky about how we're able to put the different pieces together. So when I think about Coach KB and the Dream Factory, it makes me wonder how do we keep building on that? Because for the first time, I couldn't tell who was going to be the guy. I mean, Blake does his thing, but I couldn't tell. I didn't have like everything's going to run through this guy or that guy. We moved the ball well and played well. What did you guys see?
It seems like Strong is stepping up more late in games, whether he's scoring a lot or not. You know what I mean? It's not like he's coming in and, I'm just being unorthodox or it's kind of I hate to use a $10 word here, like an idiopathic thing he's doing. Something you're like, this is so out of the norm for him, But I just
did he say idiopathic, bro?
Idiopathic.
I'm just
how much do you think people pay for their subscription to this podcast, bro?
Not enough to have a thesaurus.
we got to get somebody. We got to get you. We got to get another word. Okay, go ahead, brother. I got you.
But yeah, I like, again, to your point, that you don't know. As a matter of fact, when Dockery threw that little floater in the lane at the end, I'm like, shoot, I ain't never even seen him pull that out of his bag. Especially at that moment in the game, it was like, oh snap, he's going right on forward here. Kind of defined the scout report and everything. He just went right to it, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
I think for me, the story of the game, and even though the stats don't necessarily say it, was rebounding, because it looks like Coach really tightened up his rotation. I say like the last 10 minutes. I don't think a big guy played the last 10 minutes.
I'm trying to remember seeing Dom.
Well, Dom is out with injury, but even with Taiwo and Miles Stewart, who are about our biggest play, like I don't think they played down the stretch. And so, and you know, they were getting a lot of offensive rebounds, you know, second chance points. And to me, I kind of attribute that to that we just didn't have the size to get the boards when they were missing. Now it was only, I think, 40 to 35. They had 40 rebounds and we had 35 total, but I think in that second half, like I said, without Miles and without Taiwo, we were susceptible to them getting second and third opportunities, which I think kind of doomed us, even though we was, still there in the end. But I think Coach really tightened that rotation down the stretch.
He did.
And we were already, we were already like 9 players. That's all we had, for this game. So to tighten that down to about 6, for the last 8 or 9 minutes, I was like, oof, okay.
Well, I will tell you, Chip, the part I was trying to pace myself on. This is one where I only got to see the last part of the game in real time, and I went back and tried to watch whatever the replay was. So one thing that I did notice, though, was that in tightening up the rotation, I think it was more about something we talked about on the episode a couple of episodes ago, which was if we can maintain less than 10 turnovers, we should be competitive. And so if my math is correct, we only had 8 turnovers for the game.
Yeah.
So we had been averaging double digits to the point where even folks that are calling the game said, well, they do turn the ball over a lot. That's even the people who like Howard, like, yeah, it's a great school. They turn the ball over a lot. It's almost like,
right,
bro, that doesn't go together like that. I don't know why you're trying to put that together like that. But in my mind, I kept asking myself, because you said this pre-production, you're like, yo, man, they didn't have the big people out there. And we know I love Taewoo and Stewart. Shout out to Stewart and that Stewart clan, right? And they played, right? But they played in spots where we needed them early, but down the stretch, we didn't turn the ball over like we maybe would do, especially when times were getting tight. We'd have had this tight game, we'd have gotten within 1, and then it'd have been 9 because we'd have had 2 or 3 turnovers, but we had a better focus on keeping the turnovers down and the assist high. So the fact that we were in the game is less surprising when I go back and look at some of the stats, because I'm like, well, if we keep the turnovers less than double digits, we're going to be in the game, And I think that proved out. I was
about to say, to your point, I think with the UNCW game, they actually had 13 turnovers, but we still put out the dub. So I was like, oh, okay. But yeah,
my number was 10. My number was 10. I said, if I can stay near 10,
right,
we should be in it. Let us shoot well. Let's keep the turnovers down. We can play with anybody. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Just say it. That's
no doubt.
Yeah. That's right.
And and I think we got Hampton and Yale coming up. And Hampton's going to be an interesting game, let alone it's the rivalry. So, you can never really scout it out, but they actually beat UMBC, who we lost to. So that's about the only comparative note that I have. Like, all right, we're going to have to be on our toes with Hampton. So
yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
And I do have to shout out my cousin Deidre, who did go to Hampton University. She
do you have to do it?
I don't want to take a shot right now. No pun intended. But I bring it up because I asked her about going to the game, and she's not. She was non-committal, but she did talk about kind of culturally speaking how significant it would be to go to that game. So, I'm kind of looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm. What was that word you used before? Something.
Idiopathic.
Yeah. I don't know what it means, but it sounded very idiopathic, brother. So you're right. You're right, Chip. I think that I'm excited about the Hampton game for 3 reasons. 3 reasons. Number one, it is going to be because of the I'll call it so-called rivalry, Hampton Institute against Hampton University. I'm still trying to figure out which one they were when, but I just love the fact that we're going to play against them on national television. So I know for those of you listening, there may be an opportunity for you to join some watch parties. I know down here in the Charlotte area, we got a party going on with the Hampton Alumni Association. So we had a party last year, and this was a really good way to get out and fellowship, right? The culture needs a win more than just despite deciding who's the best HU or Hampton. The idea is that number two, I know Hampton has been playing in a different league. They've been outside of an HBCU conference for a few years now, and what I have noticed is that similar to how we look at UNC Wilmington and some of the other schools like today with Drexel, their profile actually helps us get prepared for conference play because, even though that's what I say, that's the challenge is they give us a different look, even though they look familiar, right? So I know that we've the last few times we played, it's come down to the wire, just like most games. And with our injury report, I'm looking to see who's going to show up there. And so third, and certainly not last, I think that for some reason we actually almost try to play them more than we play most schools. And my appeal for the Hamptonians that listen in, because I'm bringing enough fire and heat for you to tune in to see what else I might say. I really would like to make the appeal that you guys reconsider your conference affiliations. You need to come on back home because we're good TV, we're good stories. And for the most part, we're good friends until you all start talking that HU stuff. Other than that, you guys are pretty good. So I'm excited about the game. I know I'm planning to hopefully be still by that time. I'm trying to get back home from a little travel so I can go join all the Hamptonians and our Howard Bison for a day of activity and fun, a day party. But I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, I think you guys have been keeping up on our work with all the Ivy Leagues. We play a lot of football games with them and basketball, but we're trying to play with the Ivy Leagues because we as Howard consider them to be more of our peers than we let on, especially academically as well as.
See, that's why I don't believe you don't know what idiopathic means. Just look how you just.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I didn't say it. I'm just trying to make sure people don't think that we all use $10 words to get our points across. This is when it's the Morehouse man jumping out trying to tell me three different ways that we're different. We're different. They're not like us. They're not like us. So, but yeah, I'm looking for, like I said, these next 2 games are really how we wrap up our non-conference schedule, and that's going to give us hopefully some fun as we start to get ready for conference play, and that's going to be big because we're going to host a few games there. So I'm kind of looking forward to the wrap up for the non-conference schedule. And I know our show starts to flip a little bit because we're going to start adding some guests. Looking forward to getting hopefully Coach Blakeney and Coach Ty Grace in to kind of give us a preview of what we're looking forward to and maybe give us a hint of what we messed up on in conference play. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe they'll tell us to get us on the right side or right. But this is going to be exciting, man. So we'll take a quick break and hear a little bit of music, and then we're going to come back with some over and under reactions and wrap up with what's good for basketball. Stay tuned. Oh, I can't. I gotta. Talking out the side of your neck. That's actually the subtitle of this part of the program. Over and under reactions is literally us talking out the side of our neck or other body parts. You decide. As you listen, you decide. You got to tell what's going on. So, who wants to start us off with it? Over or under reaction? I know Chip, fighting through it. Yeah. Well, Chip has been fighting through a little bit of cold. He still sounds like Lou Rawls, so he's got that sound working. But
this is my MJ flu podcast. So
That's it. We carrying him like Scottie Pippen to the sideline. Like we just need 50 more points, Mike. We need 50 more. So what you got for us, brother? What you got?
So did you want to go?
No.
He said he want to go last.
Okay.
He wants to close this out. He'll transition us over to the what's good for basketball too. So we'll let him go last.
With the Drexel loss, it actually took a little sting out of my overreaction because we needed to win against Drexel. Because I was gonna say I could see us making a run. Because after the UNCW game, I was like, oh yeah, when we get everybody back, this is gonna be easily Sweet 16. I could see it. That was my overreaction. But because we lost to Drexel, I think that I'm always fighting with once we win the MEAC, where are we going to be seated? I think we needed to beat Drexel to avoid the first four. So my overreaction after the UNCW game was, we making a run. Sweet 16, we gonna be out of the first four. Boom, we got it. And then we lost to Drexel, and I was like, oh, my underrated. It brought me right back down to earth. Like,
just like that, man. You know what I love? This might be singularly what I love about this show. Your ability to ride a roller coaster of emotions is, right. and you don't get sick. Like I would be throwing up as much as you go up and down with this, man. I like it though. So you're back in the realm of let's just win the MEAC. Let's just win the MEAC. Well, I tell you what. So just to keep it going, my underreaction, right, to your overreaction is, I do believe that it's 3.5 to 4 people for our ladies team have to score in double figures for us to run through the MEAC the way we need to. We need 3.5 to 4 in double figures because I don't think there are many teams in the conference that can run with us when we play the defense we play and we score from the post as well as outside. We just need to make sure it's not just Destiny and the Lady Bison. We need everybody showing up. We need everybody showing up. So that's my underreaction for this week going into the last few games of non-conference play. So E, what are you thinking? And let us know where you're coming in on over under reaction.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll start with the over under. And since we're talking about reactions, man, I also have to add, because you are B Smooth, there's nothing more entertaining than watch you react to Chip's overreactions on anything.
Sweet 16, baby. Sweet
16. It's podcast gold.
It's partly cloudy out here. Yeah, those are the dreams. I'm hoping that's rain. It just
it's freaking hilarious. But in all seriousness, the more I keep listening to you guys and thinking about what I was thinking about the women's team, what it showed me was don't overreact to statistics. And don't underreact to our team's ability to win despite what you see in those statistics.
Very astute. That
is very astute. I like that.
Very idiopathic.
I knew it was a setup.
You know what, Chip? I thought it was
comfortable with the flattery.
I thought it was more idiosyncratic, but it's idio something. It's idio something. So I love it. I love it. So E, That was really dope, man. You always bring it. I think that my challenge to you is to give us a little bit to think about for what's good for basketball. I know you hinted at Morgan Wootten, so I want to see if you can kind of bring us home with that. See if that
Okay.
can close us out tonight.
Well, like we always talk about, man, we want to elevate the program.
Mm-hmm.
Elevating the program, we are looking at the vision and the way it seems that the coach is going about elevating the program. And it seems like part of the way we've sort of assessed that he's doing that is to focus on the DMV, right? And nothing screams the magnitude of what the DMV is capable of, like DeMatha High School, right? DeMatha High School, just like when we were talking about Old Dominion, Morgan Wootten is a Hall of Famer and never coached college basketball. Uh, Kareem Lou Alcindor was known for only losing one game the whole time he played high school basketball at Power Memorial. And take a wild guess who he lost to. People listen, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I heard him say early on in my basketball romance was, if you're not a threat to score, you're a detriment to your team. It doesn't matter what your skill set is, you have got to be a threat to score, or you're just hurting your team. There's no reason for you to be out there if you're not a threat to score. And so, when you think about the specialty players, or, people like Michael Cooper is known as a defender and this and that, but he's also known for the Cooper loop and banging threes. So that letting you know right there, he's a threat at all times. And I kind of kept saying to myself, well, what could they do different, meaning the Lady Bison, to sort of offset some of these things. And I started saying to myself, well, and this is not a gender contest, but one of the things I appreciate about when I see the men play is the way they swing the ball. They seem a little more deliberate about how they move that ball around, right? And then I thought to myself, because then I was thinking, well, who's the leading rebounder for the women? If that person just ran the floor more. And to Chip's point, and to your point too, but you have to be ambidextrous to do it. You should be able to put the ball back up with your left and right hand at all times, because if we're not shooting well, that means there's a lot of rebounds to be had. So, you need to be real deliberate about that moving forward, especially as we're going into this the conference play. Like, hey, well, what do I need to work on, and what can I do to help my team by being more of a threat to score? So I came up with, even at the beginning of the Old Dominion game, the announcer made the comment, Sanaya drove the lane and she rocked the ball from one side to the other, threw a little English on it, and it just kind of rolled in and out. And he was like, oh man, if she had hit that, that would have been so sweet, right? And I thought to myself, she needs to do more of that. She needs to be intentionally, driving the ball. Even if you don't say nothing, but I'm, 2 times a quarter, I'm gonna idiosyncratically drive to the lane.
This guy. So I love you dearly, my brother. I love you dearly, my brother. That's so you brought it home for me. You were kind of going around a little bit. I had to get you.
Yeah.
I'm with you though.
You do that. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay though. So the key takeaway though is that it does get back down to the basics, and we want to make sure that if we build in the program, focusing on the foundation, that allows us to have people know we're trying to make sure we got good basketball, men, women, what have you. Just this is good. This is good. All right, so
That's right.
so we're coming to the end of an episode, man. This is time flies when we're having fun here, and with welcome back, E. I know you were busy handling business with your day job, so glad you could get with us.
I always appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys, man. Y'all always hold the program down. Y'all hold me down, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And we want to make sure you give, we give E his flowers. He actually came up with the name of
did.
the podcast. So, we always want to make sure from a historical standpoint, we got that on record. So E is the progenitor of the Bison Brothers basketball.
There's a $10 word.
Right. I'm running out. I'm running out of credits, guys. You got to be careful. I'm at the point where they're gonna make me press. You got to upgrade your program if you want to understand the rest of what's going on. So again, we are gonna have probably one more episode of non-conference recaps. Between the holidays here. Enjoy the family time that you're gonna have. But before we wrap up like we normally do, Chip, why don't you close this out, man?
Hey, as always, remember to keep subscribing, keep donating to the MEAC Society to support this championship culture, support this dream factory. Go to the MEACSociety.org. Also, you can go to hubison.com, donate to the athletic department directly. And if you are in an area where the teams are playing, go see the game. Go to the game. We need that energy at the game. So continue to support this podcast. Right, subscribe to the podcast, like the podcast, share the podcast, comment, take pictures if you're at a game, tag us at Bison Brothers Basketball. Just keep supporting this thing. You know how we do. You know.